Do you need to wear a mask to get through your day to day and to survive and thrive in your day to day? The term masking keeps coming up for me lately. I know I keep seeing it, thinking it, hearing it, and I've started to look a little more deeply into that to really try to figure out what that is and why it's coming up for me right now. My name is Amy Palmer. I am your GenX big sister. I talk about all things pre-retirement, especially for Gen X women over 45. Pre-retirement is the last 10 to 15 years-ish before you are ready to retire. How can you still build a life that you are fully fulfilled by and feel joy while you're waiting for those years to come later for retirement? So that's what I usually talk about a lot on this channel. And within that, we discuss things about making life changes, pivots, relationships, finances, dating, friendships, travel, joy, like all the things that come up for us during this stage of our life. And as I've been peeling back the layers and really looking at things and thinking about things, this concept of masking keeps coming up and the reason why I've been receiving it in a different way is because it's become evident to me in recent years that I had been building up a facade, a mask, almost an avatar, if you will, through most of my life. And it's just been the last handful of years that I have started to tear that off and like rip it off in little bits and pieces and still trying to figure out what is the true me underneath. And so the term masking is what I'm finding, and I am no expert. And if I say anything that is offensive or incorrect, please let me know, because that is not my intent. But what I looked at was that masking is a mental health coping term, and it seems to be applied when I was doing searches, it was applied initially primarily to neurodivergent people, if you're not neurotypical. So potentially on the autism spectrum. So it seems to be like when I look it up as a term, that's what it comes up as. But I've heard it used as a term amongst women of color, probably people of color, but in like conversations and people that I follow that talk about masking in order to survive and thrive in what they feel are unsafe spaces. And it's about putting on that mask so that they are as unthreatening as possible to the majority of people around them, and that they may be unsafe if they present their more true, authentic self. So by no means do I want to claim it, for either groups of people, whether you're doing it because you need to survive in safe places, survive in unsafe spaces, or you're neurodivergent and you're just trying to thrive in this supposedly neurotypical world. I just know that the experience is something that I think I am familiar with. When I look back at different times in my life and different periods of my life. So during the period of my life when finding a partner was my number one goal and focus in life, like it was all consuming to me. It was the most important thing in my life. And that probably spanned from my 20s 30s into my early 40s. So more than 20 years of wanting to find that partner. And this whole concept of being chosen. I mean, maybe that's why I didn't find my partner or haven't yet, because I never really subscribed to that concept of being chosen. And I keep hearing the chosen thing lately too, about like women saying, I just want to feel chosen. I just want him to choose me. And then there was, that horrific Grey's Anatomy line when Meredith said, pick me, love me, choose me, or whatever it was, where she was basically begging McDreamy to choose her. I never really subscribed to that choosing thing. I absolutely felt like I was choosing. But obviously I knew that it needed to be like a mutual thing. They needed to choose me in return. And there is a part of me, there always has been a part of me that has felt that me as I am, who I am, is not the quote type of woman that most men, mainstream man, would choose. So I did unknowingly learn to mask and learn to change who I was, change how I presented myself to the world, keep some of my thoughts to myself, make decisions based on what's going to put me in the best situation to be chosen and to have options when it comes to a partner. So I definitely had instances of that, even though in the meantime, what was happening in my life is I moved around kind of often. Every few or handful of years, I moved to a new place, a new state, which I really liked that I did that. And I also was advancing in my career. I remember being very resentful of, like, at the time, people would say, oh, well, you're so focused on your career, like, the stereotypical of the career-minded woman who's not open to marriage and family. And I was very adamant about the fact that my career success has come about on the side. Like, I was focused on this. I wanted the marriage and the family. But then, I had to spend my time somehow. So I just was doing things that was bringing me success. I had to, I just put on this whole persona to achieve the goal that I wanted to achieve. And then the masking also hugely came in my professional career. So I learned early on that professionally, I started to be rewarded for certain behaviors, certain decisions, certain ways of going about things with a very masculine energy. Like, professionally, I have a very masculine energy. I'm very results oriented. I typically do not make emotion-based decisions, very facts and very tangible-based decisions. But I had to mask how I really felt about that, because I had to make myself act that way. I wanted to be more human-focused. I wanted to lead with my heart and not with my head. And I would, I would get rewarded for one set of behaviors and dinged for another set of behaviors. So I learned that I had to have this mask, this facade. And then I also had to resist sharing too much vulnerability. A little bit of vulnerability was okay. It almost had to be like preconceived, like you had to you had to present some sort of vulnerability to be a good people leader, but it was within certain boundaries of sharing that vulnerability. So that felt like masking. Like, I felt like I was not being my true authentic self. I think that what led to my breakdown emotionally, physically, everything a handful of years ago, I think it was decades of masking. And even the introvert extrovert thing, even the, you know, even that activity, I played in both worlds. I have a tendency to lean towards the introverted side. I believe it or not, you wouldn't tell by this channel, but I don't talk a lot. Like I'm not somebody who's just like constantly in conversation. I listen a lot, and then I express myself very succinctly. You wouldn't get that from this channel, but anyway, that is true. And I don't necessarily prefer to be around a lot of people. I like small groups of people, like 4 to 6 is like perfect. But there are lots of circumstances where I have to pretend to be an extrovert and put that mask on, and that exhausts me as well. So I really think that those decades of putting on that mask and pretending I'm someone that I'm not, hiding my feelings about, like, especially the stuff that I've been talking about here. The stuff that I've been talking about here are things that I've been thinking and feeling for a really long time, and I hinted at previously in like blogs and different social media, but I was afraid of too many people hearing what I really thought. What I really thought about women's role in society, how we've conditioned them, how the blueprint has harmed us in many ways, and my thoughts on the gender dynamics between men and women, and how I feel like there's lots of improvement that needs to happen. Like a lot of my thoughts around that I have not wanted to put on blast too much until recently, until now. So I'm curious to hear from you about masking. Do you find yourself putting on a mask to fit in? Like I talked in a previous video about fitting in. Do you mask yourself to fit in, either socially, maybe within your family? I heard from many of you that felt like you don't even feel like you fit in with your family. Do you feel like you need to pretend like you're someone that you're not? Or at work, and in your role at work? And how much of masking is sort of like normal and needed and reasonably healthy, and at what point is it not healthy, and is it something to be concerned about? That it's something to think about. So I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Remember to like and subscribe to this channel. I have something cool coming pretty soon. I'm doing a 5-part series on pretirement that I'm going to be launching here on this site. So keep your eyes open for that. And my name is Amy Palmer. I am your Gen X Big Sister, signing out.